Hello, friends. Once again, I welcome you all for my lecture number 7 on the scattering theory. Friends, in the previous class, in lecture number 6, I gave you the partial wave analysis. And this partial wave analysis ultimately gives you a scattering amplitude f of theta. And we know that scattering amplitude ultimately gives you a probability of scattering. So we have obtained this from f of theta is given as 1 upon k is wave vector, which we have already defined. And you have a various term corresponding to L equal to 0, L equal to 1, L equal to 2. There is basically a sum over the states. So these scattering amplitude is basically consisting the sum of the contribution of all partial waves. This you please remember, it is consisting the sum of the contribution of all partial wave corresponding to L equal to 0, that is we referred as a S wave. We have L is equal to 1, it is referred as a P wave, and so on. And you see, the wave analysis, we also obtain the most general asymptotic solution of the Schrodinger wave equation. We wrote the radial wave equation and we found the general solution. The most general asymptotic solution is basically sum over L equal to 0 to infinite. This is also a sum over of the state L. And you have the term I to the power of L, where it is orbital quantum number, possible values of L is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. 2L plus 1 divided by 2 IKR. R is the distance, which we have already mentioned. And you see, you have the term, you see, this is IKR minus L pi by 2 plus 2 pi R, I'm sorry, plus 2 delta. There is a I e to the power of, you see, there is a positive sign here. And there is another term which is exponential of minus I kr minus L pi by 2. So, as you know that the particle has two eigenstates. So, this term e to the power of plus I into bracket kr minus L pi by 2 plus 2 delta L represent the outgoing wave, and the term which is which represent e to the power of minus I kr minus L pi by 2 is representing incoming wave. You see, I have already gave you the explanation that each plane wave is basically a linear combination of infinite number of spherical wave. Okay, and these are the spherical wave corresponding to L equal to 0, L equal to 1, L is equal to 2. So you see, this expression ultimately gives you a very important thing, the contribution of a scattering potential. You see, the particle experience a potential near the origin, right? But if the particle is very far from the origin, that is at a large distance r, this r, then it does not experience a potential. It does not have any knowledge of potential at a large distance from the scatterer. So the contribution of the scattering potential is to shift the phase of outgoing wave relative to the phase of incoming wave. Since you look at the phase here, the phase of outgoing wave, you see it is kr minus L pi by 2 plus 2 delta L. Delta L is the phase shift, you see, and which I have already explained what is a phase shift. And here you see the phase of the incoming wave. It is kr minus L pi by 2. Look at that argument. So when a particle experience a potential near to the origin of the coordinate system where particle where the target is located, then the effect of scattering potential is to shift the phase of the outgoing wave. You see, it is giving you a contribution of 2 times delta L. You see 2 delta L. Look at the phase here. It is kr minus L pi by 2. And here the phase is kr minus L pi by 2 plus 2 delta L. So this is the phase shift, 2 delta L. This is delta L is a phase shift. And we want to understand today how to calculate phase shift. You calculate phase shift for S partial wave, for a P partial wave. Generally, in scattering theory, whenever you do a scattering analysis, S wave contribution is very prominent, and that's why we will concentrate today. We will see that we will find out the phase shift corresponding to delta L, that is L is equal to 0, and we will also calculate phase shift for P wave, that is delta 1. Delta 2, delta 3, delta 4 are very small. Phase shifts are very small. So once you understand these two expressions, this f theta. So basically, you know the f theta is consisting the term because of the interference between the partial waves. You see, it's a sum over the partial waves. So it consisting the interference term. That's a very important part. Theta is basically is a sum of the contribution of all partial wave. So it may consist a term of the interference term because of the interference between the partial waves. So this f theta is playing very important part in a scattering theory, and once you understand the f theta, then you can find out the differential scattering cross section, and you can find the scattering cross section. You see, f theta is basically a probability of scattering. So if you take a mode of f theta square, that will give you the differential scattering cross section. So partial wave analysis gives you the scattering amplitude, as well as it gives you the most general asymptotic solutions, which I wrote these two equations. So once this equation we have already derived, and now you see this is the way. You see f theta square, mode of f theta square is f star theta psi, because you know psi square is psi star psi. Same way I calculate here. Before we go for this, let us work out one small exercise first. So these are the two expressions which we wrote here. And now let me explain uh, to how to compute differential scattering cross section. So let us study now how to find out the scattering cross section. So differential scattering cross section sigma of theta, because it is independent of phi. The particle is moving along the z direction, along the z axis. So your differential scattering cross section is only depending upon theta. So this is the formula which we have already derived in the previous class. So if you take f theta mode of f theta square, you will have the differential scattering cross section. So I put a value sigma theta f of theta square. F of theta, you see this is the value of f of theta which we have derived previously. So I put this is the modulus of f. So inside the modulus you put f of theta. So f of theta is 1 upon k, 1 upon k, sum over L equal to 0 to infinite, 2L plus 1, 2L plus 1, exponential of I delta L. So I keep exponential of I delta L. You see I keep PL cos theta, PL cos theta, sin delta L, and you have square. And now this k is 1 upon k, and it is a square of 1 upon k. So I take 1 upon k square outside. And if you see the summation, I can take summation outside. So you have the mode of 2L plus 1 exponential of I delta L PL cos theta sin delta L square. This is the expression for a differential scattering cross section. And this equation is known as fraction and Boltzmann equation. Holtzmark equation. And because this equation was derived by fraction and Holtzmark. So this you please remember the equation name. And now we may proceed further. You see, once you know this expression, you see sigma theta. This is a differential scattering cross section. You see this. Now total cross section. And we have defined the total cross section sigma is you have to integrate sigma theta over the solid angle d omega, right? And you see that theta changes from 0 to pi. It's a polar angle. And see that you have studied this. I explained the geometry of scattering in my first lecture, and I told you how theta varies, how phi changes, and I also explained the physics of angle theta and angle phi. And you know that the scattering of a particle is described by these two parameters, angle theta and angle phi. So you see this here. So I write down sigma theta as, and d omega is a solid angle which we can write ds over r square. This is the formula which we have already used in many classes. So now you see this sigma theta. So I put the sigma theta, look at this equation as it is. ds is the area element in r theta phi coordinate system. So it is given by r square sine theta d theta d phi, the area element over r square. So this r square and this r square cancels each other. So that gives me sigma theta, right? And you know d phi, different integration of 0 to 2 gives you 2 pi, and it is the integration of sigma theta sine theta d theta. This is the, I'm separating the phi part and theta part, that you know. That's right. And this is giving you 2 pi. The integration of d phi is phi, and it is changing from 2 pi to 0. It's 2 pi. So now you see, I wrote this expression here. So I write down sigma theta, you see, sigma theta, 2 pi sine theta. This is 2 pi, 2 pi sine theta d theta. I'm taking 2 pi is constant term, so I'm taking outside. And sigma theta is the scattering cross section, sigma theta. And you see this value which we will write down here. And you see this sigma theta, the value which we can write down here, from where you can see I wrote this sigma theta 1 upon k square. And you see this formula, look at the formula which I use here, sigma theta formula which we have developed here, sigma of theta. So this formula you have to substitute here, because we know f theta and we have calculated mod of f theta square. So we have calculated sigma of theta, differential scattering cross section. We know differential scattering cross section. So that value I'm keeping here. So you look at that value. I'm keeping 1 upon k square. You see, this is the value sigma theta square. So you see 1 upon k square. This is 1 upon k square. I'm keeping here. So this value I'm keeping, and you see uh, the value which you should remember, sigma theta. The value of sigma theta is here, 1 upon k square, sum over 2l plus 1 exponential of I delta l PL cos theta sine delta l square. This is sigma theta, and this you can see. I use it from there. This is the value I use it. This value of equation number 9. I substitute here. You look at this, 1 upon k square, 12 plus 1 exponential of I delta and here PL cos theta sine delta and mod square. And then we have the term sine theta, because 2 pi is outside d theta. So we will have this expression with us now. Now let us simplify this expression. You see this expression, you can take common term outside. So you see 1 upon k square I'm taking outside, and this is 2l plus 1 a whole square. It is 2l plus 1 whole square, and inside the modulus sign you have exponential of I delta n, right? Okay. and this is a PL cos theta. Then you have a sine square delta, because this is sine square delta, and sine theta is already here in this term, so I write sine theta d theta. Now mode of e to the power of I theta square, mode of e to the power of I theta square, that is you see e to the power of I theta into e to the power of minus I theta. So that gives you e to the power of 0. E to the power of 0 is 1. Right? This is e to the power of, you consider this is similar to e to the power of I theta. And mode of this is mode of e to the power of I theta square. So mode of e to the power of I theta square is e, e to the power of I theta into e to the power of minus I theta. That gives you e to the power of 0. That is why it is 1. And you see the term which we have, only the term which remain is PL of cos theta whole square, and sine square delta L, we took it outside because it is independent of theta. So I took it outside, and you have this term PL cos theta whole square sine theta d theta. So you remember that this is the total cross section, and this is your differential scattering cross section. Sigma theta is the differential scattering cross section, and this is the total scattering cross section. And I have already explained you what is the total cross section. So here you have to integrate the legendary polynomial, mode of legendary polynomial square sine theta d theta. So I consider x equal to cos theta, because you know the argument. So dx equal to minus sine theta d theta. So lower limit theta equal to 0. If you put theta equal to 0, cos 0 is 1. So x equal to 1. The upper limit is pi. So you put cos of pi. So the upper limit is minus 1. So now this integration is basically, we are changing the order of integration. Now this integration is now integrated with respect to x. So theta, a variable theta is now replaced by variable x. So you see here in this expression 2 pi over k square is remaining as it is. Then 12 plus 1 whole square remaining as it is. You see sine square delta is remaining. Now when x equal to 0, you see, when theta is equal to 0, x equal to 1. So right, theta is equal to 0, x equal to 1. Theta is equal to pi, x equal to minus 1. So this is the lower limit and upper limit. And now this is cos theta is x, so it is PL of x whole square. And sine theta d theta is minus dx. So there is a minus sign, and you see the lower limit is plus 1, upper limit is minus 1. Now I can change my lower limit as upper limit and upper limit as a lower limit. So there will be another negative sign. So this negative sign, by changing the order of changing this our limit upper to lower and lower to upper. So the negative sign, by changing the limit, and the negative sign of the minus dx gives you positive sign, and you get 2 pi over k square. You see 12 plus 1, that is a sum. Of course it is because of the contribution of all partial waves, so that's a summation. 2l plus 1 square sine square delta, and you have the property, we can use the orthogonality property of legendary polynomial, that is minus 1 2 plus 1 PL of x whole square dx. And this value is nothing but 2 upon 2l plus 1. It is basically 2 upon 2l plus 1, where L is the orbital quantum number, which we have used. This integration is standard integration, it is well known, and you have used this integration. Basically it is given as a PL of x, right? PL dash of x. You see this is the way you can write PL of x, PL dash star of x. So when L is equal to L dash, your chronicle delta function becomes 1, and you have the relation which you can calculate this 2 upon 12. This property you have used in many problems. So I'm taking this result directly. This integration is given by 2 upon 2l plus 1, and look at the coefficient is 2 pi over k square sum over 12 plus 1 square sine square delta L sine square delta is this here, right? So you see what is your sigma, your total cross section sigma. So total cross section sigma is given as 4 pi because this is the 2 factor and the 2 factor here, so it becomes 4, so it is 4 pi over k square 2l plus 1, right? Because this 2l plus 1 square and this is 2l plus 1 and 2l plus 1 square. So you have 2l plus 1 cancels. So it becomes 2l plus 1 sine square delta. You see this is sigma. Sigma is equal to 4 pi over k square. L is equal to 0 to infinite 12 plus 1 sine square delta. So this is the expression of a total scattering cross section due to the scattering. So this expression number 10 and the expression number 9 which I wrote it here. This is expression number 9 is sigma is a function of theta. This is a differential scattering cross section. And this is your total scattering cross section which we have calculated here. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the, let us say, if you want to calculate the differential scattering cross section and total scattering cross section for the S wave scattering, only for the S wave. If you want to find out the total scattering cross section or contribution because of contribution of scattering cross section because of S wave, I would say. So for S wave scattering, the differential scattering cross section, you see a differential scattering cross section, look at your formula here. This is the formula which I write here, number 9, sigma theta. But if you want to calculate sigma theta for L equal to 0, so I put subscript here sigma 0 of theta. Sigma 0 of theta means it is a differential scattering cross section for L equal to 0. And that is nothing but for L equal to 0, the partial wave is characterized by S wave. So what is the differential scattering cross section for L equal to 0? So if you put L equal to 0, 2 into 0, so this becomes 1. It is e to the power of I delta 0, right? Then you have P0 of cos theta. P L is 0. So P0 of cos theta. And P0 of x is always 1. The argument is x. So P0 of x is 1 and this is sine delta 0 mod square. So I'm keeping this value and look at this. I have calculated this value here. So for S wave, you see I calculated 1 upon, this is the formula which I wrote it for your reference. You see L is equal to 0, exponential of I delta 0, P0 cos theta, and sine delta 0. P0 of x is 1. So what is the value of sigma 0 of theta? Is simply, you see, an exponential of I delta 0, again you see mode of exponential of I delta 0 is basically e to the power of I delta 0 into e to the power of minus I delta 0. So e to the power of I theta into e to the power of minus I theta, that becomes e to the power of 0. E to the power of 0 is 1. So that term gives you a contribution of 1. P0 of cos theta is 1. So it is sine square delta 0 divided by k square. So you see this is your sigma 0 of theta. This is known as differential scattering cross section for the partial wave corresponding to L equal to 0, that is S wave. And now you calculate the total scattering cross section. This is the total scattering cross section here. 4 pi over k square sum over L right? 12 plus 1 sine square delta L, correct? Because your total scattering cross section is also because of the contribution of each L equal to 0 various partial waves here. But now you put L equal to 0, so this becomes 0 here. So this is simply 4 pi over k square sine square delta 0. So you see this term you calculate 4 pi over k square sine square delta 0. So today we have calculated differential scattering cross section and total scattering cross section for the S wave. You know, S wave is spherically symmetric, and most of the time, you know, whenever you do a scattering analysis, the contribution of S wave is more prominent. So we will concentrate on S wave scattering. You know, this is very important. It gives you more information also. So now we may proceed further. You see, so when you calculate, I mean to say that when you calculate the phase shift, delta 0, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, delta 0 will be more prominent, delta 0 will be greater than delta 1, and then you have a delta 2 corresponding to L equal to 2, delta 3, delta 4. These are the phase shifts. And these phase shifts are because of these scattering potentials. S wave is shifted by the phase. That is because the scattering potential, the role of scattering potential is to shift the phase of outgoing wave. So the wave, there is a change in phase. So delta 0 is for the change in phase. This is change in phase for L equal to 0 for, okay, for L equal to 0, that is for S wave. Then delta 1 is for P wave, delta 2 for D wave, and so on, S, P, D, F, like this. So now for the, if you are having for lower value of delta 2, delta 3, delta 4, we will have a very important thing which we will work out now. So if delta 0 and delta 1 are prominent, if you have a scattering process in which delta 0 and delta 1 are prominent and delta 2, delta 3, delta 4, delta 5 are negligible, in that case, what will be the differential scattering cross section and total scattering cross section which we will work out. So there is a small exercise which we would like to work out, that for the case of scattering where the phase shifts delta 1, I'm sorry, delta 2, delta 3, delta 4 are negligible. In that case, you compute the value of differential scattering cross section and total scattering cross section. So let us work out this problem. So you see, I wrote the formula of F theta. This is known to you. F theta is basically a summation of the contribution of all partial wave. So you have a interference term because of the interference between the partial wave. So you have the sum over L states L equal to 0, L equal to 1. And this is a scattering amplitude that we have calculated. And now I am taking, because we know that if you want to find out the differential scattering cross section, that is a mode of F theta. It's a probability of scattering, you see. So I take mode of F theta square is F star theta into F theta. So you see what is F star theta? You see, let us take the complex conjugate of this. So right, so I'm taking a complex conjugate of F star theta, so it is 1 upon K, right? And then this is the sum over that, 2L plus 1. And you have a complex conjugate of this EL, e to the power of I delta L, that is e to the power of minus I delta L. This is PL of cos theta, so PL of cos theta, sin delta L, sin delta L, I'm taking this. And then I take F theta. I'm taking just dummy variable. Now, of course, this L and L dash runs from L equal to 0. So it is 1 upon K, right? And sum over L dash. L dash is a dummy variable which represents the orbital quantum number. L dash equal to 0 to infinite. And you have 2L dash plus 1 because it is sum over L, not L, but sum over L dash to differentiate these two terms. So it is 2l dash plus 1, then exponential of I delta l dash, pl dash cos theta, sine, and you know this is sine delta l dash. You know this, correct? Is this step is correct? If you know this way. And now let us work out for the value. See, I write this equation. So now you see this equation. Here, you see when you write this equation, look at the term which is very important, and you please try to understand this term here. So first, look at this the first term here. You concentrate on this because we are talking about different values of L, and we should go for how many different values of L? L equal to 0, L equal to 1, because delta 0 is prominent, delta 1 is prominent, delta 2 is negligible. So we should take L equal to 0, L equal to 1. So I take L equal to 0 first. When I take L equal to 0, so this is 0, exponential of minus I delta 0. So you see I get exponential of minus I delta 0, P0 of cos theta, because L equal to 0, sine delta 0. So I take the first term of this contribution of this sum, right? Then L equal to 1. So L equal to 1, if you put L equal to 1, so 2 into 1 is 2 plus 1, it is 3. Then exponential of minus I delta L is 1. So you see I minus I delta 1. Then L is equal to 1, it is P1 of cos theta, and delta L is 1. So sine delta 1. So I take L equal to 0, the first term, L equal to 1. Then I can have L equal to 2 also. But I don't take L equal to 2 because the phase shift is negligible, right? So we don't take L equal to 2, L equal to 3. So this term, this sum is giving me the two terms, right? Which is giving you the phase shift in delta in terms of delta 0, and this is phase shift in terms of delta. So I hope you understand that. And you have a product. So I have a product sign here. You see, this is a product. Then again there is a sum. So this sum will also give me the various Lth term. So we'll have L equal to 0 term. So where is L equal to 0 term? You see this 1 upon k and this 1 upon k is already multiplied, and I keep it 1 upon k square outside. 1 upon k of the first sum over L is equal to 0, and the 1 upon k for L prime equal to 0. So this gives you 1 upon k square I'm keeping here. And now you see this exponential of minus I delta 0. Okay. You see this is a term L equal to 0. So this term is 0, and L prime is 0. So I delta 0. So I delta 0. L equal to 0 is a P0 cos theta sin delta 0, and the L equal to 1, L dash equal to 1. So it is 2 in plus 1 is 3, exponential of I delta 1, P1 of x, because it is L equal to 1, sin delta 1. And P1 of x is always x. P1 of x is x. You see that, and P1 of cos theta. So that is also giving you cos theta. P1 of cos theta. P1 of x is x. X is cos theta. So P1 of cos theta is cos theta. So here also there will be a cos theta. Let us substitute this value here. So you see I wrote here exponential of minus I delta 0. So exponential of minus I delta 0. And you see P0 of cos theta. P0 of x is 1. So it gives you 1, and sin delta 0. So sin delta 0. Then you have a 3 exponential of minus I delta 1. You see 3 exponential of P1 of x is x. X is cos theta. So it is cos theta sin delta 1. So you see there is a first term. You see I put in a curly bracket. So you see the first curly bracket represent the first term here. Now you have a second curly bracket which represent the second term. So that is also, you see, exponential of I delta 0, exponential of I delta 0, right? Then P0 of cos theta, P0 of x, P0 of x is 1. So that is equal to 1. So that I'm keeping 1, sin delta 0. And then 3 exponential of I delta 1, P1 of cos theta is cos theta. So it is a cos theta into sin delta 1. So you have the second curly bracket. You can see and you see you have the closing parenthesis, and now we have to open this bracket. So I multiply this term with this term first. So you see, you see exponential of minus I delta 0 into exponential of I delta 0. So e to the power of minus I theta into e to the power of I theta is 0. E to the power of 0 is 1. So that's 0. And now sine delta 0 into sine delta 0, that is sine square delta 0. So you give it sine square delta 0. Now this term will multiply by with this term. So you see that gives you the term, you see 3 cos theta sine delta 1, right? Sine delta 1 exponential of my this exponential of my sine minus I delta 0, and this is exponential of I delta 1. So this exponential of I delta 1 and exponential of minus I delta 0, I combine this term. You see, I get this exponential of this minus I delta. I hope you understand this step, right? So this I made it here, minus I delta 1, and this is the minus I delta 1. You see this is plus I delta 1 and minus I delta 0. That step you please take care, and once you try to understand, so I multiply the first term with the second term of the square bracket term. So you see here these 3 cos theta sine delta 1. So you see 3 cos theta sine delta 1. The sine delta 0 is already here. So sine delta 0 and this exponential of minus I delta 0, and you know this exponential of I delta 1 gives you exponential of I delta 1 minus I delta 0. And similarly now you can work out with this term will multiply by with this, and this you can multiply by uh, the term which is consisting 3 exponential of I delta 1 cos theta sin delta. So you can verify. So it will give you 1, 2, 3, and the fourth terms you are getting. So I hope you can understand this step is very simple, right? So because it is 3 into 3 gives you 9. The last term is 3 into 3 gives you 9. You see exponential of minus I delta 1, exponential plus I delta 1 equal to 0, cos theta into cos theta, cos square theta, and sin delta 1, sin square delta 1. So that's simple. Now, once you understand this, so you see, let us write down this step here. So I take this term, you see here, uh, this sin square delta 0, 3 cos theta sin delta 1 sin delta 0, right? And this is the term which you already here, it is mentioned here, okay? And you see I'm keeping 1 upon k square common, and I'm combining x plus the term. This is the same term, and I basically take this term, exponential term, exponential of I delta 1 minus delta 0, and this is the exponential of minus I delta 1 minus I combine this term here, because you see this is also here the terms which you are already having. This is I delta 1 minus delta 0, and if you take minus I common, so it is delta 1 minus delta 0. So I combine these two exponential term here, and I write the term here. So you see this is basically a simple step, and the note will be given to you. So you can see the step which I wrote it here. The steps are not derived in your textbook, but once you refer my note, you will understand the derivation part. But here also, if you look at these steps very carefully, you can understand I'm just combining this term, and I'm combining this term, because you see 3 cos theta sin delta 1 sin delta 0 is common in both the cases. So I'm taking outside and I'm combining the exponential term, and you have the last term 9 cos square theta sin square theta. Now you see here, this you can see sin square delta 0, 3 cos theta sin delta 1 sin delta 0, and this is the this is the Euler's expansion, e to the power of cos theta. I theta is cos theta plus I sin theta, e to the power of minus I is cos theta. So one can write cos theta is simply e to the power of I theta plus e to the power of minus I theta divided by 2. So one can write e to the power of I theta plus e to the power of minus I theta is always 2 cos theta. which we, for sine theta we have already developed. So this is for the cos theta. If you have sine theta, then it becomes 2i here, and there is a minus sign also. But anyway, so this is you know that e to the power of I theta plus e to the power of minus I theta is equal to 2 cos theta, right? And you see this is e to the power of I theta. Theta is, you see, delta 1 minus delta 0, and here theta is delta 1 minus delta 0, of course, and this is minus I theta. So this is nothing but 2 cos theta, right? So you see here, so I write down sine square delta 0, 3 cos theta, sine delta 1, sine delta 0, 2 cos theta, theta is delta 1 minus delta 0, and the last term 9 cos square theta, sine square delta 1. So I write down 9 cos square theta, sine square delta 1. And now you see I write the final step. Final step is very simple, sine square delta 0. And you see this is the term, you have a 9 cos square theta sine square delta 1, and this is 3 into 2, so 3 2s are 6, so it is 6 cos theta sine delta 1 sine delta 0 cosine of delta 1 minus delta 0. Look at the term very carefully. This term you can understand now, correct? So this is the term, once again I write down here. So differential scattering cross section, right? For the low energy scattering, I would say low energy scattering means you have the scattering because of only S wave and P wave. So here sigma theta is mod of f theta square 1 upon k square sine square delta 0. You see this is 9 cos square theta sine square delta 1, 6 cos theta sine delta 1 sine delta 0 cosine of delta 1 minus delta. This is the term which you remember, and this you have to calculate. So this is the differential scattering cross section because of the contribution of the two terms, delta 0 and delta 1. Because we have considered delta 2, delta 3, delta 4 are negligible. So we have not included that term. Now the total scattering cross section is given by this formula. This is the formula we know. We have defined this sigma equal to 4 pi over k square. Look at this expression. We have already calculated 4 pi over k square sum over L, 12 plus 1 sine square delta. Delta is a phase shift corresponding to the different value of L. So this we know. So I'm writing this value. So using this expression number 10, so I'm writing the expression number 10, you see expression number 10, if I write expression number 10, and let us write down the total cross section. The total cross section because of the two wave S and P wave, because we have not included delta 2, delta 3, delta 4. So you see this is a sum over. So you have to take a summation for L equal to 0, then L equal to 1. You have to take the summation of the contribution of each L wave, each partial wave. So you take the summation for L equal to 0, then you take L equal to 1. So I take L equal to 0. So this term is 1, sine square delta L equals to sine square delta 0. Then you take L equal to 1. So it is 3 sine square delta 1. So you see this is the term which you get sigma equal to 4 pi over k square sine square delta 0 plus 3 sine square delta 1. So this expression is the total scattering cross section for the contribution of S wave and P wave. So this you please remember. And you see we have calculated the differential scattering cross section here. This is the differential scattering cross section sigma theta because of the scattering of S wave and P wave. So delta 0, you see there is only a phase shift delta 0, a phase shift delta. Delta 0 is very prominent. Delta 1 is also considerably good. I mean considerably large, but delta 0 should be greater than delta 0 is greater than delta 1. Please remember this. So once you know this case, once you understand, and now we go to a very important theorem which is known as an optical theorem, which is very analogous to a theorem in optics which you have studied. So there is a very famous theorem which we would like to understand. So you see, this is your theta. Basically, a summation of the contribution of all partial wave. Right? It's a of the sum of the contribution, which is given by all partial waves. So L equal to 0, L equal to 1, L equal to 2. This is the formula which you know. Now let us say for the case when theta is 0, there is no scattering. Suppose theta is 0. Please remember, this is a special case which we are taking and we will understand. So for the case theta equal to 0, so we have a f of 0. So f of 0 this is 1 upon, this is a small k, it's a wave vector. And it is 2l plus 1 exponential of I delta L L cos theta sin delta L. Theta equal to 0. And you know this cos 0 is 1. Cos 0 is 1. So PL of 1. PL of 1 will be 1. Because here you see PL cos theta. Cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. So you have a legendary polynomial with argument 1. So it is PL of 1. And PL of 1 is always 1, which we have already calculated. And when we studied the spherical harmonics, we have described PL of 1 is always 1. So you see now this expression gives you 1 upon k L equal to 0 to 12 plus 1 exponential of I delta L sin delta L. So this is, now you see this is the e to the power of I theta. So it is consisting the real term and the imaginary term. So I am writing the both the terms separately. So it is 12 plus 1 and cos theta plus I sin delta into sin delta. Look at this. So now you see that part. So I separate the real term 1 upon k L equal to 0 to infinite 12 plus 1 cos theta, and you see the sin delta L. This is the real part 12 cos theta sin delta and the imaginary term 12 plus 1 upon k 12 plus 1 I 12 plus 1. You see this is this you know that, and this is your I is the imaginary term 12 plus 1 sine square sin delta into sin delta gives you sin square delta. So when you take the imaginary term of the scattering amplitude for, let us say, L is equal to 0. Let us say, sorry, imaginary terms you have taken. Imaginary term of f of 0. You see, so imaginary term is 1 upon k. You see, 2l plus 1 sin square delta L. I write this here. Imaginary term, and you write this is f of theta. I don't keep L equal to 0 right now here. Okay. So this is the imaginary term of the scattering amplitude. So imaginary term of the scattering amplitude is 1 upon k. This k is not capital, is a small k. L equal to 0 to infinite 2l plus 1 sin square delta L. Because you have a complex number, it is z equal to x plus iy. So x is the real term, y is the imaginary. Imaginary is iy. So y is the, so this is the y term. So 1 upon k 12 plus 1 sin square delta. Right? Now the total cross section. The formula we know. The total cross section we have already calculated 4 pi over k square, and this formula is already mentioned. You see, I am using the same formula which we have already 4 pi. Sorry, this is sigma 0, not sigma. 4 pi over k square sum over L 12 plus 1 sin square delta L. This is the total scattering cross section equation number 10. I'm using the same equation here. So this equation you can see here. See? And now it is a 1 upon k square. I split into two parts, 4 pi over k into 1 upon k, and the term, this term. And you know 1 upon k, you see the 1 upon k sum over L 12 plus 1 sin square delta L. This term is nothing but imaginary term of f of 0. When you see because you see f of 0 means you see theta is 0 when you get theta equal to 0 case. Correct? That's why I wrote theta f0 there. You see, this f0 means f theta. F theta I consider for f0. So please say. So I'm using that 0 means I'm talking about the case where theta is 0, right? There's no scattering here. So here I'm taking this is f0 because this value is f of 0, and because this theta you have calculated for theta equal to 0 case. You see here I consider for theta equal to 0 case here, right? So please concentrate, and this is for various spherical waves, sum over L. So you are calculating for this, so theta you may write f0 also, there is no problem. So when you write f0 here, so this is your imaginary part of f0, and this sigma is a total scattering cross section is equal to 4 pi over k imaginary part of the scattering amplitude when theta is equal to 0. This is known as imaginary part of a scattering amplitude when theta equal to 0, f of 0. This relation is known as an optical theorem. In analogy, with the relation in optics between the absorption coefficient and the imaginary part of the complex index of a refraction. So there is a theorem in optics, and there is a relation between the absorption coefficient and the imaginary part of the complex index of refraction. And here we have a relation between total scattering cross section with the imaginary part of the complex scattering amplitude. The scattering amplitude f theta is consisting the real part is the imaginary part. So there is an analogy. So this theorem is similar to the theorem in optics which relates the absorption coefficient with the imaginary part of the complex index of refraction. So we consider this result as an optical theorem, and we will use this optical theorem in some numerical problem where I will explain you a very important concept of low energy scattering, when scattering is very small, when theta is very small. We'll see here, and now we will have a very important example we will work out. So there is an example which will give you the concept of scattering amplitude. In a scattering problem, the scattering length A is defined by, the scattering length A is defined by limit when energy tends to 0, very low energy. So the scattering length is given by limit of minus f of theta, that is a minus sign, f of theta. So this is the definition. If you take the limit of a f of theta when e tends to 0 with a minus sign, we have a scattering length. Show that the zero energy cross section sigma 0, that is L equal to 0, right, is 4 pi a square. Okay, please remember the dimension 4 pi a square, meter square. And for weak potential, delta 0, that is a phase shift, is always minus k times a. K is your wave vector and a is the scattering length. So we will solve this problem using this definition. So you see, I write the first definition. Look at this. When the energy is low, only S state is involved in a scattering, right? Hence, from equation this, you see this is the equation of f theta, which we have already developed. Okay, so when you develop this 1 upon k, 2n plus 1, exponential of I delta L, PL cos theta, sin delta and low energy, because you see I said E tends to 0. So when you keep E tends to 0, there is a low energy scattering. That means you consider only the wave, only S wave. So L equal to 0. So when you put L equal to 0, so this term will give you conclusion 1, exponential of I delta 0. So exponential of I delta 0, P L P0 of cos theta, P0 of x is 1. So it is 1 and sine delta 0. You see sine delta 0. So this is your F theta, scattering amplitude for very low energy scattering. Now in the limit of E tends to 0. So you take a E tends to 0, you take a limit of minus F theta, right? So where A is equal to minus of F theta. So you take apply minus sign here. So when you apply minus sign here, you will have a scattering length A equal to minus 1 upon K e to the power of I delta 0 sine delta 0. I hope you understand this. So sine delta 0 equal to K into A with a minus sign e to the power of minus delta 0. So you have calculated the phase shift sine theta. So you calculate theta. So you have calculated the phase shift that is delta 0 for L equal to 0. That is S wave scattering. You have calculated delta 0, right? And now what is our intention? What we want to prove? Look at this. I'm sorry. Let us see. Your problem is here, and you have to prove first part. Show that the differential so that the zero cross section sigma 0 differential scattering cross section total scattering cross section for S wave is 4 pi a square. So let us see now. Now we calculated this. So we know that sine delta 0, right? Now total scattering cross section, the formula is known to you. 4 pi over k square 12 plus 1 sine square delta L, right? This you know. And for low energy scattering, L is equal to 0, so sigma 0, because we want to calculate low energy scattering and we want to calculate sigma 0. You see, this is the problem they ask. Calculate sigma 0. You see, sigma 0, so L equal to 0, you have to calculate. So that's why I put this value sigma 0. Sigma 0 is 4 pi over k square. This thing gives you 1 and sine square delta 0. And sine square delta 0 is here. You see, sine square delta 0, I calculated sine delta 0. So I put this minus ka e to the power of minus I delta 0 whole square. So this is 4 pi over k square a square, right? So now you see this k square cancel. So it becomes 4 pi a square. So the total scattering cross section is always 4 pi a square. And this is only possible when you have a low energy scattering, when the particle which is incident which is moving along z direction with a very low energy, whose energy is very low. In that case, if it is scattered, then the scattering cross section will be of the order of 4 pi square, right? And now you see, this is basically a surface area. If you have a sphere of radius r, what will be its surface area? 4 pi r square. And now you have the another problem. You see what is the other problem? This says uh, show that this we have calculated. Show that the zero energy cross section is this. We have done this. For weak potential, show that the phase shift is minus k times a. Dear friend, you please note that here I wrote k capital, but please consider this is all small k, and you please note down this. So for weak potential, delta 0 equal to minus ka. We want to prove this. So look at this problem. So now we can say that, you see, if the potential VR is weak, right? So delta 0 will be very small. Naturally, we have discussed, if VR is weak, if potential is weak, then the role of potential to shift the phase. If the potential is stronger, then it will give, the role of potential will be, it will have a greater effect on the change in phase. The phase of the outgoing wave will be altered effectively. But if the potential is weak, then the phase of the outgoing wave will be altered, but it will shift, but the shift will be very small. So that is why delta 0 is small. So e to the power of I delta 0. And e to the power of I delta 0, it is an expansion of e to the power of x. E to the power of x is 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial. But if x is small, then we can write e to the power of I delta 0 equal to 1 and sine delta 0 equal to, so sine theta is always theta when theta is very small. So you know this. So I can take this when delta 0 is very small because potential is weak. If potential is weak, then I said that delta 0 is very small. So now you see from equation 1, which is your equation 1? Your equation 1 is here. This is your equation 1. F theta is equal to 1 upon k e to the power of I delta 0 sine delta 0. This is the equation which we have calculated for L equal to 0, where k is a wave vector which should be small. So I'm using this equation 1. So in this equation 1, so e to the power of I delta 0, e to the power of I delta 0, e to the power of x, that is equal to 1. So it will be 1, and sine delta 0 will be delta 0. So from equation number 1, you can see this 1 upon k, e to the power is 1 and sine delta, so it is delta 0 by k, right? So delta 0, and so it is f theta equal to delta 0 by k. And equation number 2, look at this equation number 2. Equation number 2 is here. A is equal to minus 1 upon k, e to the power of I delta 0 sine delta 0. So A will be equal to minus 1 upon k e to the power of I delta 0. So it is 1 and sine delta 0 is delta 0. So it is delta 0 over k with a minus sign. So A will be delta 0 over k with a minus sign. So you can see here, I write here, see here. So I write down 1 upon k, this is 1, and sine delta 0 is delta 0. See, A is equal to minus 1 upon k, so minus 1 upon k, e to the power of I delta 0, because delta 0 is very small, so e to the power of I delta 0 is nearly 1, sine delta 0 is very small, so sine theta is equal to theta, so sine delta is delta 0, so it is delta 0 minus k, right? It is delta 0 minus k. So what you can say, A is equal to minus delta 0 over k. So delta 0 equal to minus k. So this is the point which we have calculated. This is calculated the phase shift. So we have calculated the phase shift here. You see, minus k. So this is the problem which gives you the understanding about scattering amplitude, phase shift, and the phase shift magnitude. That if potential is strong, then the phase shift will be effective. It will be large. And if there is a stronger potential, then we'll have to also include the S wave, P wave, as well as the D wave. So we will have several problems where we will see the energy scattering, and we will work out several problems to understand the optical theorem, to understand the phase shift, and to compute scattering amplitude and total scattering cross section and differential scattering cross section. So next lecture we will discuss this matter. I will stop here. I request you that you please download the lecture note of this lecture number 7, and you please refer it, and we'll have a Google Meet, so you can share your difficulty, your questions, and your query. I would like to solve the questions and answers questions also. So once again, I hope that you will study the differential scattering cross section. You will refer your textbook of Parul Das, refer my note, and we will meet for a Google meeting. Thank you very much. Okay.